Air was directed by Ben Affleck, or Air Courting a Legend, however you want to call it. And this is based on the true story of how Nike managed to acquire Michael Jordan when he was still a rookie, and this was before things went really great with the Chicago Bulls. And essentially how Sonny Vaccaro and Phil Knight and others who were working at Nike were able to strike a deal during a time when Converse and Adidas were also after Michael Jordan. And Jordan had very publicly expressed the fact that he did not want to sign on anything with Nike, which makes things a little bit difficult. Now, actually, you don't probably get this, but I like basketball. I actually follow the sport pretty often, and I've been following the latest season. I got some thoughts on it, but overall, when it comes to basketball, some things are undisputed. Michael Jordan is the greatest player. You could make an argument at this point that at some point you're probably going to start saying LeBron James because he's currently the highest NBA scorer of all time, or you have your other picks for that, but Jordan established himself as, he is up there. And so naturally making a movie about that, it's going to get some interest, especially from fans of Michael Jordan. And there are millions of fans of Michael Jordan. He's the most famous man on the planet for a while over there. And what you get with Air is a movie that's not necessarily about Michael Jordan. He's not in the movie, by the way. He is, but the stand-in they have for Michael Jordan, he never shows his face. By creative choice, apparently Ben Affleck was like, listen, I want Michael Jordan to be in this movie, but I want Michael Jordan to be in the movie. And we can't really do that right now because it's a younger Michael Jordan, so I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit. I'll leave whether or not the creative choice works all the way, but the film manages to find a way to still keep it focused on what it really is about, which is about Sonny Vaccaro. It's about his story and how he managed to convince a board of people who were thinking this is the craziest idea in the world, giving all of the money that could be potentially offered towards athletes of all kinds competing against Converse and Adidas, and essentially be able to sign him on. And what you get with the film is really, really great. Matt Damon, who plays Vaccaro, is fantastic in this. I think he does a really, really great job. And the film manages to strike a very good tone between just the sort of urgency of the matter while undercutting it with some humor every now and then. He'll have conversations with other people such as David Falk, and there's a humorous tinge to that. Chris Messina is fantastic in it. Ben Affleck as Phil Knight, outrageous. The guy is absolutely out there, and he does a really, really great job of playing that. And Affleck directs it very, very well. This is a very quick, fast-moving film that never lets up for even a second. And much like the shoe line itself feels very light on its toes. It feels like it's constantly soaring and just going forward without taking even a single break. It never loses that momentum. And props to be given also in this case to the screenwriting, the way it's written, the way it's constructed, and everybody else in the film who is bringing in their performances, whether it be Chris Tucker, Viola Davis, Marlon Wayans for a little bit. Everybody does a great job. Jason Bateman is really great in the film as well. I had a really, really great time watching Air. And I could tell a lot of Jordan fans were in the crowd because my theater was moderately packed. I actually pretty much entirely sold out. And there were people who were cheering and going, ooh, when certain things were coming up. And then eventually as the movie was concluding, there was some cheering, which was really, really great to hear. And to be able to have that sort of experience with other fans of the player, of someone as great as Michael Jordan, is pretty awesome. However, it is to be noted that this film keeps it specifically to Nike. And it keeps it to Vaccaro's pursuit of getting Michael Jordan on. And so he's talking to the family members, he's talking to everybody, and the film focuses on that. Don't expect to see a ton of basketball playing in here. You'll see some archive footage, you see some moments where you can see Michael Jordan right before he was signed on, when he was still, being discovered, and the early championships. So you have some of that over there, and you see some other footage of other players as well. But you're not gonna get too much of that. This is very squarely focused on the fact that it is telling the story of things that are happening behind the scenes and how the shoe line comes to be. And I gotta say, not only is that somehow surprisingly rivetingly done, I think it's going to be liked by a lot of people. It's a very feel-good movie. It's one of those things that's going to be a crowd pleaser for sure. In fact, I actually was thinking while I was watching it that, who would be a great audience for this? Dads. You should actually see this with your dad. If you have your dad with you, if you have parents with you who've, been there watching Michael Jordan come up to what he is, or if you have been there along with that, watching Air would be probably a lot of fun. Like, you can kind of go back on that, and you sort of have a very nice communal experience in that regard. It's a very accessible movie. I mean, it's rated R because of language, but yeah, I got 8-year-olds saying the F word these days. I mean, Jesus Christ. Now, this movie was supposed to be on Prime Video, but then it got pushed to theaters, and I think it's a good call. I don't know how it's going to do. I know it's coming out next to the Super Mario Brothers movie, so that's probably going to give it some very, very stiff competition, and Dungeons & Dragons just did, very, very well, and so I'm expecting there to be some resistance, but I think you should go check out Air. Mostly because it's just a very really well-made movie. It's not something that you go looking for faults in necessarily. Like, yeah, certain things probably could have been developed on a little bit more. There are some points where it jumps forward, no pun intended, of course. But the film overall manages to stick the landing really, really nicely. And I had a really, really great time watching it. And I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the days to come. I'm going to give Air a 9 out of 10. I'm actually not kidding. Like, I really like this movie, and it was great watching it with, again, a lot of people who are fans of Jordan, and to see the story come about. I think pretty much everybody who was involved in this film, all of the characters, they're still with us. So I have to assume they had a great, hand in sort of, consulting and making sure the story was told right. And I think they landed it pretty well. I think Affleck did a great job over here, and everybody involved in it were able to pull off something really, really great. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very, very soon. Let me know what you guys think of Air as and when you check it out. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I will see you guys at the movies.